Hi everyone, Mark Cavanis here for another product focus video on the Jubilate Music Group YouTube channel. And with me today on Product Focus is John Randall Dennis. Hi, Rand.
Hey, good to see you.
Oh, you too. Welcome. And you are in Franklin, Tennessee, I do believe. That beautiful background behind you.
I am even further out in the sticks than that. There's an artsy oil spot in the road called Leaper's Fork.
Oh, of course, that's right. You told me that, Leaper's Fork.
And so we moved here just before Christmas this past year. Yes.
How nice. That's great. That's a great place out there. Well, listen, Rand, thank you for being here, as I say, and we're here to talk about not only Christmas by Candlelight, which is a new edition of your wonderful cantata that you wrote years ago, which we'll talk about. Well, I want to talk a bit about your background, Rand, a few minutes before we launch into talking about the cantata. And, you know, Rand, you and I go back quite a way. I mean, we had not seen each other in several years because your career took a different path. We'll talk about that later slightly, but you still continue to be a musician and writer and all of that. And but so glad to reconnect with you after many years. And but when I think of you and all of your writing over the years, it's so eclectic. I mean, you're a Dove Award-winning writer for artists like Steve Green, Sandy Patty, Point of Grace, Dion, Shirley Caesar, and the thing that also, which ties into Christmas by Candlelight. I mean, before you wrote it in 1990, and we'll talk about that when it was released. That's how I knew you, largely with these wonderful hit songs, if I can call them that. But yes, they were just that. But these beautiful songs recorded by the leading artists of that day and beyond. And then here comes Christmas by Candlelight. But how so eclectic with your writing? Talk about that and your background that brought you to that point.
Oh, let me see. Last time we probably talked, I had a goatee and a ponytail, right? So
I think you're right.
But no, seriously. I was formally trained in classics through high school, and then I began studying jazz as well. I got a degree in conducting and church music from Olivet University, which was great because there I was able to study piano under a guy named Stephen Nielsen, and I studied arranging and was a copyist for Ovid Young. This is obviously before Macintoshes did that for us. So I always was very varied in my music tastes and my interests. And so I became a kind of a prescriptive writer, starting actually in jingles. My first recorded song was a piece I produced that was used on Volvo Grand Prix tennis tournaments for NBC and ESPN and whatnot.
Wow.
But and then I studied audio engineering while I was in the Chicago area as well, anticipating a career as a producer, because I didn't really want to write or engineer or conduct. I wanted to produce. I just wanted to be knowledgeable. So when I came to Nashville, one of the labels said to me, "Well, we'll be happy to let you produce, but we need you to have your song rights. So here's a contract, and we'll pay you so much a year." And I said, "Wait, I don't write songs." And they said, "Well, you will." I said, "Well, but how many do I need to write a year? Is there a minimum?" They said, "No." And I said, "So you're going to pay me to do something I don't do with no minimum, huh?" And I said, "Where do I sign?" And so to my surprise, the first song that was recorded in that process was an early thing for Sandy Patty that ended up getting performed for the president on national television. And so now I'm a songwriter. Can't get arrested as a producer. Everybody's calling me up, first call, people like that. And so I just went with the flow where the opportunity was that God gave me, and ended up working over the years also for Billy Ray Hearn, the late Billy Ray Hearn, the founder of Sparrow. And he gave me kids records to produce back then because he knew I'd produce them well and they'd come in on budget and on time. So
that's what we always want.
Yeah, it's like, here, you can fog a mirror, so you're the producer. But no, I was blessed to be able to work with, toured with Gaither, and as a consequence, that's how I ended up writing for Lionel Harris and those sort of people back in that period. And I think probably the thing I miss most about the record industry, since I'm in technology now, is actually those relationships, because I really had an opportunity to meet a great number of really wonderful executives, artists, and studio musicians are just the greatest here in town,
I agree.
but you know that.
They're great.
Yeah.
Well, wow, that is quite a path to do what you did and have done, Rand. Well, let's shift now to the Christmas by Candlelight. So, with all of that background that led you up to, and I'll never forget when it came out. And again, it was released in 1990 by an evangelical publisher. And this cantata is anything but evangelical. It's very traditional, very classical in many ways. There's even some Messiah in there. And so, how did you have all of that background with all? And then here comes Christmas by Candlelight.
I just felt impressed. I've been praying about it, to be honest, and I was impressed to approach what was then called Benson Records, but had been acquired by HarperCollins, and presented the idea of an imprint for them that would be classical. And it was really just perfect timing, because oddly enough, the head of publishing there said, that is just so weird, because the CEO of Zondervan, who is Jim Buick, an old friend who's now in retirement, has been kicking my tail to start a classical imprint. And in fact, he just called me this morning saying, Jordan, why have you not started this thing? So I just walked in, and we came to agreement in no time. I knew pretty much what I wanted to do musically with it. And because I wanted to provide a lot of variety within the service, but keeping it simple with just a brass quintet, organ, piano, a few things. And it was really great fun to dust off the Bach and the Messiah stuff, and also write some new material to pay tribute. Really, I don't know if you've listened much to Thou Who Wast Rich. Steve did the solo, Steve Green.
Yes, Steve Green, soloist. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and so it's a really touching carol. I love the lyrics of that thing.
It really is.
And so it was really, in my way, honoring the late Ovid Young, who was the organist and arranger that I studied under, because I don't even play organ, but I thought, okay, you sit down and you were wearing your "What Would Ovid Do" bracelet as you arranged this thing. And I was so fortunate to have sat in so many services too, where Ovid played organ and Steven Nielsen played piano. And as a consequence, was able to bring some of those sensibilities to the lyric. Also enjoyed writing with a friend of mine who's now a professor of music business at Trevecca Nazarene University, Vincent. Vince Wilcox?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. And so he wrote the lyrics, much of the lyrics to "For Unto Us." But the rest of it was just trying to imagine what would be just a really great evening for a community worship service, in all the simplicity we could do.
Oh, and the result, Rand, is so satisfying. And I will tell our viewers that quickly how this came about was literally, I was going through my choral library at home, and Rand knows this story, and came across my copy of Christmas by Candlelight. And I thought, I'm sure this is probably out of print by now, and I would love to bring it back. So I tracked Rand down, and it didn't take long, because we all know each other in the music business kind of here in Nashville, and was able to connect quickly with Rand. We had a wonderful coffee session, and he generously said, let's do this. And so I'm so happy that happened that way, and that we can offer this new edition. And again, I think that to so many, as Rand knows, this is brand new. This cantata will feel brand new. And that's why, as a publisher, I was so excited to bring it back to the public, because so many people will see it as brand new. And so it's such a beautiful work. And, Rand, the other thing that some of our editors here at Yuba Latte Music Group have said about it when I shared it with the team to say, hey, what do we think about this, and how can we take this out there? Some of them said, hey, this is also very appropriate for colleges. and
Yeah,
universities.
it
I
is.
think not only is it going to appeal to more liturgical churches, but I say more liturgical, just middle of the road, Methodist,
Mhm.
Presbyterians, and traditional Baptist churches. They did it before, they'll do it again. But again, colleges and universities, I think I had not thought of
Mhm.
that. I mean, we certainly serve that market with our H.W. Gray imprint, and
Mhm.
in addition to what else it serves. But again, what do you think about that? I'll bet a lot of colleges and
No,
universities did it before.
uh, I can't speak to that because I don't know offhand. But first, let me just say I'm deeply grateful that you're picking it up and
Oh,
reissuing it, because the opportunity to share something you did so long ago uh, and bring it to a new audience. I am deeply grateful, Mark.
thank you. Thank
Uh,
you.
and yes, it would make good, having been around a lot of college and university music programs, it would be a great thing in that context. And in fact, there are other works that I did expressly for college choirs and that sort of thing. They're more, I wouldn't say competition
Right.
caliber, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And
Absolutely.
I just have nothing but the fondest memories about recording this thing in the middle of the night with the Nashville Brass Quintet and the United Methodist Church Choir from West End. And we had to record it, most of the stuff on site there it's on West End, right by Vanderbilt,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So we're recording starting at 11 o'clock at night to keep the street noise down,
Wow.
you know? And it was just a pleasure to write the whole thing, and be involved in the project. Was sort of felt like you're being a part of something a little larger than yourself,
Well, indeed, amen to that. And you can tell that it really rings true from beginning to end. And so we're excited to be the publisher, Rand, of this cantata once again, to bring it back. And so also we'll kind of come down the home stretch here now and say, tell our viewers what's happening with you these days. I know you're still doing some writing here and there, and we're hoping you can do a lot of writing for us. We'd love to. We talked about that too. We'd love to see brand new things from you. But tell our viewers about what Rand Dennis is up to these days professionally.
These days, uh, I I'm an executive for a technology data and analytics company that's based in Atlanta and offices in India, but I live here in the Franklin area in the oil spot, and do a good bit of traveling to cities for meetings pertaining to that. And I'm typically involved in technology firms that are in preparing for merger and acquisition. So they're preparing for private equity to grow, So that's a lot of fun. I'm grateful for you to pull these things out of me, because I'd hate to be Charles Ives. You're a business guy. They don't even find your stuff until they're opening your desk drawers after you passed away, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but I have a lot of fun. And then we have 3 kids that are all married, all 3 living in the area here. So it's great to have family nearby.
You bet.
And as my gray hair betrays, my first 2 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
So that's great fun.
That's
A
great.
couple
You're busy.
of COVID babies.
Oh, hey, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think, again, my sum total is, of course, when we reconnected, I learned about all of the things you're doing now, of course. But it's amazing that you've got you've got fully functioning right and left brain. And I mean, to be the analytical side of things and the musical side of things. Of course, we know also a lot of those times those do go hand in hand. There's no question
Yeah.
about that.
But the war inside here with those 2 hemispheres is immense.
Exactly. Rand, listen, John Randall Dennis, this is a pleasure to speak to you today, Rand. And thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us. And again, I'm thrilled that Jubilate Music Group can bring Christmas by Candlelight back to the forefront. We're so excited about it, and look forward to seeing it perform in lots of places this Christmas and beyond. And again, we look forward to more things from you in the time ahead.
Thanks so much. So good to be with you. I appreciate
Absolutely. It. And thank you for tuning into this product focus on Christmas by Candlelight here at Jubilate Music Group.